worst moment of my life, I'll probably say, is when I broke up with my girlfriend. In that space of time, it was like everything around me came crashing down. I broke up with my girlfriend, I failed my exams, so I had to go back and retake another year of doing the same subject. Basically, I was in complete debt to something that wasn't my fault. So with that, it created, all of it started to build like a kind of like heaviness on top of my shoulders, because every day I'll be leaving my house and I'll be thinking I've got debts, I'm single, and I've now failed my final, another exam again. I failed my course initially. So as I was walking around, I met one of the members who was attending the church at the time. The way the guy was projecting himself, it was something that I've never experienced before. The services backed me up, but it was what he was saying as well that it officially backed me up to make me feel more encouraged to carry on. And when I started to see his example, I reapplied for a course that I failed. The funny thing is I passed the course with flying colours. I was one of the top ones in the class, and then through it I started to apply myself to do different things because he kept telling me that I could achieve it. It got to that point of those words that were said to me from that time, it's feeding me and it still feeds me to this day. And now all I've got in my mind is sky's the limit.
It's Friday night, it's just after 11, and this is Finding Answers. Hi, I'm Michael Boudram, and I'm your host for tonight. And you know, Friday nights is a time when many young people tend to get ready to go out and meet up with friends, go nightclubbing, doing all kinds of wrong things. And not just wrong things, but just having a night out. But the thing is, come tomorrow morning, they'll be waking up with a headache, regretting mistakes that they made, probably forgetting what they've done, but going and repeating the same thing on Saturday night. And come Monday morning, they're going to talk about with their work colleagues what they did over the weekend. And then next Friday, the same thing repeats again. So tonight's topic is learning from your mistakes. And maybe you've committed mistakes in your past which you know that are wrong, you are ashamed of it, but maybe you keep on doing the same thing again. Why? Well, we're going to try and help you get to the bottom of why you're doing it. It could be because of something that's happened to you in your past, and you know, you want to forget about your past. You want to bury that memory of your past, so you drown yourself in getting totally wasted, totally drunk, or getting high. And you know it's wrong for you. You know it's bad for you. But you repeat that same thing over and over again. Maybe you're in a relationship and you know that relationship's wrong. Or you tend to go out with the bad boys, right? Someone comes up to you and says they like you, and you eventually go out with them. But maybe now you know that this person's not right for me, but I want the thrill. I want I want him to appreciate me, to chase me. But you know it's going to end up in pain. You know that he's going to use you, he's going to abuse you, and then eventually leave you. But then you keep on going for that type of bad boy. And the thing is, you are not learning from a mistake. Well, before I go deeper into this subject, let's look at the video explaining tonight's topic.
You can only learn from a mistake after you admit you've made it. You may start by blaming other people. But if you courageously stand up and honestly say, "This is my mistake and I am responsible," then there are possibilities for learning. By making mistakes and learning from them, you will prepare yourself better for future events. You will have a better idea what to do if this situation arises again. Once the pain has gone, you may even feel pleased to have experienced this mistake, as it has allowed you to learn valuable lessons. We are taught in school, in our families, or at work to feel guilty about failure and to do whatever we can to avoid mistakes. This sense of shame, combined with the inevitability of setbacks when attempting difficult things, explains why many people give up on their goals. They are not prepared for the mistakes and failures they'll face on their way to what they want. What is missing in many people's beliefs about success is the fact that the more challenging the goal, the more frequent and difficult setbacks will be. The larger your ambitions, the more dependent you will be on your ability to overcome and learn from your mistakes. Learning from our mistakes requires 3 things. Putting yourself in situations where you can make interesting mistakes, having the self-confidence to admit to them, and being courageous about making changes. So, it's inevitable that you will make some mistakes in your life. So, instead of beating yourself up about them, why not accept responsibility and learn from them?
So, that's tonight's subject. Now, why do people make mistakes? We all make mistakes because of naivety, because we don't know something, and some people they're forward, they want to try things out, and along the way, they make mistakes. So it's human nature, right? We will always make mistakes. Some people tend to learn from their mistakes and move on. Some people tend to beat themselves up because they've made that mistake. But what happens when you know it's wrong, you are hurt, but you keep on repeating that same mistake over and over and over and over and over again? And you're not learning, right? It's like a child. I mean, even children make mistakes. Animals make mistakes, but if there's that shout, if there's a little smack and telling off, go in the corner, a majority of them tend to learn from their mistake. That's how we are kind of programmed, right? We are rewarded for things that are good, and we are punished for things that we do wrong, and we learn from that. But even though you are punished for your crime, your act, that mistake, you still go back to it. With me is Victoria. Hi, Victoria.
Hiya.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So regarding this subject, what's your discovery? What have you learnt in your research?
Well, it's quite interesting that what we can call the natural response to making a mistake is denial. So many people will deny that they've made a mistake, and they might even blame others. But what you need to show is a sense of maturity, and you need to really take hold and acknowledge the mistake. And when you do that, that's the only time that you can truly learn from it.
Yeah, everyone makes mistakes at work, right? You make a mistake, whether it's you're hiding something or you generally made a mistake. It could even cost your job. It could cost you money even. But then there are some people who will own up, lift up their hands and say, you know what? It was me. I made that mistake. And could you get fired? Could you get suspended for it? Yes, you could. But that person owns up. And, your boss, people who are close to you, they will respect you for owning up for that mistake. But there are some people that when they make mistakes, the worst thing that you can do is try to hide that mistake. It's try to cover it up. In other words, it wasn't me. As you said, in denial. They blame others. They shift the blame onto someone else. They'll even go to the point of lying to hide their mistakes. I mean, I'm getting off the subject a bit, but there are people that will do this kind of thing in order to say, you know what, it's not my fault. It's because this person. It's because of my parents, how they treated me. It's because of, that person who abused me so many years ago. They kind of shift the blame. Of course, it was wrong what happened to you. But that doesn't mean that you go and punish yourself over and over and over again. So on tonight's program, we have a young lady who made a mistake in a relationship. The wrong type of relationship. And that's probably one of the common areas in a person's life where mistakes are made, and people, male and female, they do not learn from that mistake. Like I mentioned in the beginning, you end up with the wrong type of person. Maybe you're a male who is looking for the right person, the right woman to be with, but you're always going after the wrong type of woman. You're always going after that Barbie doll, the trophy woman who is on your arm. You always go for that type of person, and deep down, that's not wife material. That's not a proper girlfriend material because you know that they're doing the same thing with other men. I chose men, and men looking for women as opposed to the normal. We all know that men go after women and it's the woman that makes the mistake, but also you're a man and maybe you could be doing exactly the same thing. So we're going to be discussing this topic with our guest tonight. And if you would like to make comments on tonight's program, maybe you want to share your experience, maybe you are making mistakes, you're not learning from your mistakes, or even if you have, then please give us a call or send in an email. Victoria has the details. What are they, please?
So you can speak to an advisor at any point. Our number is 020 7686 6300, or send us an email. The email address is help@findinganswers.tv.
Okay, we're going to go for a break now. When we come back, you're going to meet our guest for this evening. See you after this. Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, let's meet our guest tonight. Her name is Yvonne Nwaiga.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome, Yvonne, to the program.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm glad to be here. I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now, you've got a story to tell
Yeah.
regarding tonight's topic, learning from your mistakes,
Yeah.
right? You made a mistake, one that now, I don't know if you regret, you can either look at it as regretting it or learning from it and moving on and making you better. How do you view your mistake?
I view my mistake as something that I look back on and I've learned from. I think it definitely makes me a lot stronger. It makes me able to relate to people that have gone through something similar, and I think it helps me to help others in a way. So although if I could not go through that experience again, I would say, yeah, I don't want to go through that again. But having been through it, can't take it back. I think the positive is that I'm able to move forward from it and know what not to do.
Because there are some people that can't move forward.
Yeah.
Right? They can't, they keep beating themselves up. So let's go straight to the story. Now, before we get to it, how were you growing up?
Growing up, I was pretty your average child. I didn't grow up with my parents, I didn't grow up with my mum, but I grew up with my maternal grandmother and my uncles, and it was a very loving environment. I was in contact with my mum. I knew where she was. I was a child, but I knew that, you know, she was in another country because she was working, and it was always explained. I always knew that, you know, one day I'm going to see my mum, but I was perfectly happy with my grandmother and my uncles.
So where were you and where was your mum?
I was back home. Back home is Nigeria.
Right.
My mum was here in the UK.
Yeah.
And I was visited quite frequently by my father, who was a pilot. So he was always traveling, but I would see him in Nigeria. The only person I didn't get to see was my mother. But I had contact with her. I would always receive things for Christmas, my special dress, da, 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 da. When my sister was born, I would always talk to her, even though it was like baby noises or whatever. I would speak to her when she could when she was able to speak, I would be able to speak with her. So until I came to the UK, I think that was probably the idyllic part of my life. Everything was just happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things changed when you came to the UK? Would you
Yeah,
say?
it did change. I was in a different environment. The time of me coming over coincided with my grandmother's death. So it was a hard time for me when I found out she was dead, and it was just a difficult transition. It wasn't the smoothest transition, but being in the UK was okay to begin with. I really was happy to be with my sister and my mum. So yeah, everything was all right at that period. It wasn't terrible at all. The only thing that was difficult was that I lost my grandma. But that
So
was
you came over here at what age?
Came here when I was 9.
9.
Yeah.
And obviously there's that adjustment in fitting to school.
Yeah.
But eventually
Yeah, it was fine.
you got there.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's turn to when things started to change for you. How old were you, and what happened?
I was about 16, almost 17. And things at home had just become, my relationship with my mother had just become really, really tense, really, really difficult.
Why?
Because I was not willing to listen to her. I became very, I know it all, very rebellious and very like, you know, I want to do what I want to do and you are an obstacle. And because my mum, as much as she tried, was always trying to stir me back the right way, I was like, look, I don't want anything to do with what you're telling me. And
Is that because of, you know, friends at school?
I
think
think
the peer pressure, how they were acting and you were hanging around them and
I
kind of
think
rubbed off on
the
you?
circle of people that I was around at that time was a big influence for me. The circle of people that I was around and the environment and the activities that I would see them doing, I kind of used to glamorize it. I kind of used to say, oh, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go out with guys. I want to be able to, I don't know, stay out at night. And my mum was very much like, you know, you're going to come home, you're going to stay indoors. And after a while, it was just like, well, actually, no, that's not what I want to do. I'm seeing other people that are living a more free life, and I want to do that as well. So that was I would say that was probably one of the main factors of my rebellion and my discord with my mum.
So you used to, excuse me, you used to basically stay out a bit later?
No, not a bit later. I wanted to stay out all night. And
What, from the beginning?
Like, yeah, because I used to see my friends at each other's houses and having parties, guys would come over, da 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 da.
So it wasn't I'm saying, my point is, it wasn't a gradual process. You just decided,
That's what I wanted, yeah.
that's
yeah.
it. I'm staying out late and that's it.
Yeah.
So, of course, your mum immediately is going to wonder where you are. When you got home, late from whatever you were doing, what was your mum's reaction?
A lot of the time, my mum would be very, very vocally upset. She would say, you know, this is not okay. There would be a lot of trying to like ground me and say, you're not going out, you're not doing this again. I had a job by the time I was 15, so I was just like, no, I'm going to go out, I'm working, I can do what I want. So it was, I would answer back by not saying anything, just going, And then afterwards, I just do what I want. I wasn't gonna argue with my mum, because, I don't know, the way I was brought up, you don't vocalize against your parent. But I was just like, okay. And then I'd do what I want. That very night, I'd go out, I'd coax my sister and say to her, you know, when mummy rings, because sometimes my mum would work overnight, when mummy rings, pretend to be me. Just say, yeah, I'm Yvonne. Like,
Really?
do my voice.
And did it actually
embarrassing.
come over?
No, my mum always knew. And then she would try and get me on my phone and I'd like not answer or whatever. And then the next day I'd know when I come home, I'm going to hear the talk.
So, I can't, you know, imagine a 15-year-old at the time?
16.
16-year-old. 16-year-old, you know, I mean, times have changed. It's so different nowadays because 16-year-old in my time, that doesn't makes me sound old. I'm not that old, but I'm concentrating on college. I'm with my guy friends. We're going to college. We would probably go somewhere. We will play pool, snooker, and then come home. I don't know, study, do something. But at 16 years old, doing what you were doing, it's such a short period of time. How children have changed, and you were growing up in that generation. Well, actually, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
But it was, to me, that sounds, I don't know, it just sounds so strange that a young person would do that.
It's what I saw.
And that was rife in school.
Yeah, that's what the majority of the people around me, some of them, their parents had passed away. Some of them, we never spoke about parents because you just never saw them away from the group, if that makes sense. And then I wanted to be part of the group, so I needed to be present all the time.
Yeah, and I think because you're a female.
Yeah.
If it was a boy, probably it would be more acceptable to be out. But because you're female, you're young, you were thinking, I'm grown up, as you mentioned. I've got a job. I'm earning my own money. I'm not getting any money from mum. She's not giving me pocket money, whatever it is. I'm independent. I can do what I want. I can buy what I want. I can go wherever I want. And that was your mentality.
That was my mindset. Yeah.
So tell us, what started to happen now that you had this freedom?
Like I said, so I was seeing that the people I was hanging around with had boyfriends. The boyfriends were into different things. Some were doing frauds, some were beating up people to get money, some like a range of different things, activities that were all bad. But to me, the boyfriends cared about them. And
were these boyfriends other 16-year-olds?
No. Generally speaking, everyone was older. So everyone was at least 24. At least
24.
Yeah, at least 24. I don't remember anyone who was 18. Honestly, I don't. I honestly don't. Everyone was older. Everyone was a grown, mature man with a car, had a job, or was doing something adverse.
That's a mistake there already, right? Girls are obviously looking for someone older, maybe a father figure, one that they don't have at home. But mistake number one is going for these older guys who are flashing the cash, promising gifts. Did they actually give gifts and things like that?
I would see that, one would get a phone or, I don't know, go out to eat somewhere really nice and come back, or buy some shopping, some clothes, or, just things that I was just like, oh, it'd be nice if someone bought me that. That kind of thing. So, yeah.
So did you have a boyfriend at this time?
No.
You didn't?
No. I was very like, oh, no, I'm not sure. To begin with, I was very like, oh, I don't know if I want a boyfriend. Because I was very independent, very headstrong. But the more I saw the relationship and the benefits, so to speak, I became more and more envious of that. And I was just like, yeah, I need to find a boyfriend. I think I even had a conversation with one of my friends then. And I was just like, I need to find a boyfriend. Do you know anyone who's single?
Okay, obviously, as you said, because of
because
just
I could
the
see
material
that.
things.
Yeah, I could see that. It was just like I was the odd one out almost, even with this whole relationship or boyfriend thing. And I was just like, okay, this is
obviously, you never had any thought there. You know what? Now I have to settle down, get married, start a family.
No.
Nothing like that.
No, it wasn't about marriage or family. No. I just wanted to be like everybody else. And when you are in an environment where all you want, because I didn't have my family, my mum as my unit anymore, you always feel like you're amiss if you don't have a different unit. It's almost like if you're not part of one community or one unit, you need another one. And that was me. I was now in my friend's unit, and I wanted to be.
We want to fit into a group.
Yeah. Right?
That's how we are. We're not loners naturally. So you tell us when you first met this boy.
This man?
Man, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I first met him when I was about 17. And I think what had happened was he had come into my friend's flat She had her own flat. She was like my age, maybe a year older. She was about 18 maybe. And he was just looking at me and I thought, oh, okay, all right. But I didn't say anything. And then afterwards, she kind of approached me and was like, oh, this guy says he likes you. And I was like, oh, okay. And it kind of went from there, really. I started to talk to him, just spend time with him. And then before you knew it, we were dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you started going out?
Yeah.
And how quick was that? From meeting him to actually your first, if I can say, date?
I really don't remember. It wasn't so much as a date, but I don't remember how quick it was, but I wouldn't say it was up to 3 months. It was quite speedy because I put a lot of my trust in the referrer. So my friend who had told me about him, I would be like, what does he do? What does he this? How old is he? What does he? Everything. And the more she built him up in my eyes, the more I was like, okay, cool. Yeah.
So he would give you started going out, would he start giving you money and buying the phones?
Yeah, not so
Whatever
much
it
giving
is.
me money because I was a bit like, no, you don't need to, I've got money, I don't need to ask you for money. But he would buy me things or bring me little gifts and be like, oh, this is for you. I'd be like, oh, that's nice.
So tell me what would you do with, now you're getting things from him. Would you be kind of comparing with your girlfriends? Look what he bought me and...
Kind of, yeah. There were times when my friends would make comment, oh, I wish my man would buy me that. Or I'd be like, oh, look what he got me. So yeah, there were moments where it was like, I don't want to say competing, but we were kind of like tit for tat. Oh, I got this. And then she'd be like, oh, look, he got me that. Or I wish my boyfriend would get me something like that. So it was we were very much sharing our experiences with whoever it was we were dating at the time.
Would you say, looking back, you were good friends, you and your girlfriends at that time?
Yeah.
Looking back, were you really close friends or was it just superficial?
No, I would say we were good friends. I'd say that at the time I placed a lot, because I looked at them as, my examples. So I placed a lot of my trust in them, and I wouldn't say that. I think whatever they advised me or told me, they thought they were telling me the right thing. They thought they were telling me the truth, and they thought, yeah, this is fine, until everything went amiss.
Now things got worse, right?
Yeah.
Now,
it was okay for a while.
For a while,
yeah.
as normally tends to happen. So if you find yourself in a similar situation as Yvonne, or something totally different where, your life, everything you've done so far in the beginning seems though it was fun, but then it started getting serious to a point you've made your mistake already and you are regretting what you've done. Stay tuned because you're going to hear the rest of Yvonne's story.
Many people struggle to believe in true love. To some, love is but a fairy tale, a myth, a movie. All couples have differences, but what happens when those differences push them apart? When the spark in the relationship dies down, what happens next? Introducing The Therapy of Love, a weekly session that is open for anyone who is searching for love. Our aim is to assist singles and couples in finding love and a lifetime of happiness together. We provide advice and helpful sessions for anyone searching for true love. Don't settle for an unhappy relationship. Take charge of your love life, build up your confidence, and find the right person for you. Saturday, 7 p.m, only at the Rainbow Theatre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website, thetherapyoflove.com.
Are you a duck? What can it do? It swims. It walks. It flies. But does it do them all well? Yes, a duck can do all of the above, but it's not known for being great at any. So, are you a duck? Rather than attempting to do all things, why not be the best at one thing at a time? You will find you'll actually learn to be great at more things.
I get motivated to kickstart life again. That motivation that just pushed me for the rest of the week. So it's like a boost.
It gave me that hope. You know, it gave me something to look forward to.
I felt welcomed. The environment it's hard to explain, but I felt at peace. It's home.
Sometimes, in order for you to get to the place that you want to be, it's important just to take that little step.
They didn't judge me from what background I came from. I felt like I belonged.
One of the greatest things is, you know, you get to meet new people. Maybe, hopefully, I might get to see you there.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, with me is Yvonne, and you're going to hear now the rest of her story, and it's quite shocking. If you were with us so far, everything seems to be going fine and dandy, quite normal, but you're going to hear what happened next. So, Yvonne, tell us, you met this guy, 20-something years old, started dating. Tell us, when did things start to go wrong for you?
After a while of dating, for me, in my eyes, all that had changed was that he had become more busy. So if I was to say, oh, okay, can you meet me this time? So he'd say, yeah. And then something would happen and he'd rearrange or say, oh, no, I can't come anymore, whatever. So I just thought, you know what, maybe that's just what's happening for him. Things are just changing. I didn't think anything of this whole reduced time that I was spending with him.
By this time, were you in love with him?
Yeah,
Really?
definitely.
Yeah.
I thought. I felt like this is my first proper boyfriend, you know, like he was just my first everything. So for me, I was just like, yep, this is it. This is who I'm going to end up with. That's fine. Everything's okay. Unknown to me, there was a lot more behind what he had portrayed to my friend who had told me about him and to me.
Right.
I found out that so one day I'm in Primark and I'm buying things and then I get a phone call and the woman on the line says, oh, is this Yvonne? And I say, yeah, it's Yvonne. Are you so-and-so's girlfriend? I was like, yes, I'm so-and-so's girlfriend. And she responds and goes, well, I'm his wife. And I was just like, hold on 1 second. So I just had to take a step back and I was just on the phone to her going, you're whose wife? She mentioned his name again and she said she's married to him. They have a baby, I was just like, right, okay. Because the thing is, I knew he had one child with someone else, but this child was older.
He was up front with you about that?
Yeah, that child, fine. And I even met the mum of that child one time. But this baby and the wife was completely kept from me. They were in the shadows, so to speak. So I literally in that moment felt my heart physically drop. And I had to leave the store. I was in tears, I was a bit frantic, I couldn't get my words out. I was like, what do you mean? No.
And you approached him?
Yeah.
About this? And what happened?
Yeah, he was like, wait, I need to explain. And I was just like, I'm sorry, you should just be saying no. There's no wife and there's no kid. And he was like, no, well, yeah, she's my wife, but she's my ex, I'm trying to get a divorce. I was just like, what?
But there was another bombshell, wasn't there?
There was.
What was that?
the wife, sort of, from speaking to me, she could tell that I wasn't trying to date a married man. So I didn't know her husband was her husband. And she asked me, how old are you? And I said to her, oh, I'm almost 18. I was 18 at the time, something like that. But I wasn't 19 yet. And she said, do you know he's like 37 or 36, almost 40? And I was like, I'm just like, this is getting worse.
And you had no idea that this man was in his late 30s?
Of course not. Like, this is, to me, you could be my father. Like, if you're almost 40 years old, it's illegal. You shouldn't be, why would you do that? Well, is it illegal? But why would you date someone who is more than half your age and not even allow them the decency of making a decision that they were aware of, that you're almost 40? Yeah, it was awful. I felt disgust with myself, disgust with the situation. I felt betrayed.
You had already slept with him by this time.
Yeah, I was just, and the I guess the irony or sad thing was that a week after I decided, I'm going to be with this guy, I'm going to be intimate with him, is a week later is when the wife rings me.
Right.
And I'm thinking, what's this timing about? Like, it was just awful.
You
really,
lost
really
your
bad.
virginity to him or whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just
How
like,
did you feel? Before we get to how your life changed, how did you feel? What happened after that, hearing this news?
It kind of bashed me on the head, so to speak. So I felt really low, really knocked out, really like I've managed to think I know it all up until this point, and then it turns out you have no idea what you're doing. You're not as intelligent as you think you are, you're not as independent or strong as you think you are, because I really felt knocked down. I really was just like, how is this happening?
Now the young girl came out, and did you think of running back to mummy?
I did, but I was very proud. So I was just like, well, no. I ran to my friends,
Right.
I wasn't going to run to my mum just yet.
The same set of friends that you were with?
Because they, bless them, they didn't know. They didn't know his age. They didn't know he was married. When I spoke to her about it, she was like, what? How? What? Like, how? I was like, yeah, this is what it is. I know where they live. I know where the wife and kids are. I was just like, oh, gosh.
Did you sink into, depression? What happened?
I became very low. I don't know if I can call it depression, but I became constantly preoccupied in my mind, thinking about, why did this woman not ring me a week earlier? Why did this woman? Because once you're intimate with someone for the first time, there's an attachment that you feel. Well, I did to him, and I just thought, why did this happen to me, basically? And I did become quite. I kind of withdrew into myself. I did feel very low.
Yeah.
My self-esteem took a major shot downwards. And it was just really hard. It was really hard.
I know that we don't have much time, but with your story, many young girls would probably from then on go on into other relationships or stay with this guy and meet the kind of same type of man, and the same thing would happen again. That wasn't in your case. Thank God, because you kind of learnt from that, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had a mature head on your shoulders, and you kind of thought, you know what, it's not going to happen to me again. So how did the change take place? What did you learn?
I kind of learnt how not to put my trust so much in people. I learnt very much about being able to make decisions based on me
Where did you get that help from?
Where did I get that help from? Okay, so my mum, she goes to a church, and she invited me to the youth group inside of the church. And when I came, one of the things I was taught was how to be intelligent, how to actually think for myself. And
Which you thought you did before?
Yeah, I thought I did, but now I could see just so much how other people's way of life or whatever they said influenced me, and actually I wasn't actually analysing anything for myself. And being in that environment where you're encouraged so much to actually use your head and to not allow people to pull the wool over your eyes, it helps you to kind of build up your ability to protect yourself. and to make decisions that are actually going to help you.
So in
rather
that
than
youth
harm.
group, you probably had other girls, maybe guys who were doing the same type of thing. Were you hearing positive stories there?
Yeah.
And you said it was a church, so was there prayer involved?
The youth group was, for me, a very practical type of environment in terms of there was a lot of creative, they would do a lot of like dramas or music type productions, and it was learning through practical things. Yes, there were times that they would pray, but that wasn't the bulk of what I experienced there.
Yeah.
It was very much about being around people that were the opposite to the friends I had before.
With those dramas and plays, whatever, tell a story similar to yours and other things.
A lot of them were like, I would say, quite moral commentaries. So it would take a situation or a problem and basically display it and kind of give you ways to address it or look at things in a different way to what you're used to.
Right.
So I would always get examples of maybe how I should be acting or how I should be dealing with situations through the dramas, the plays, even the music productions that they would do would kind of give you an alternative message to what I was used to hearing.
So though you said your friends were close, they weren't actually bad girls as such, but they were still doing kind of wrong. They were making mistakes.
They definitely were, because, you know, like some of them had babies and babies and babies. Some of them got brokenhearted. Some of them got abused. You know, through even my relationship, there was domestic violence when I tried to leave my first boyfriend, and it was just, I could see that either way, whether it was babies, or abuse or sexual health problems, so infections or whatever, there was always, the pathway was always negative. It was always problematic.
So at the youth group, did you find positive girls now that were there, and positive youth in general?
Yeah,
that were there to support you and
I saw a lot of good examples, and actually quite different in their behavior, in their character, in their achievements to what I was seeing, you know, with the other group of people that I was around.
Yeah. No, if you want more information on the youth group, you can find out about it on our Facebook page. Not Facebook, our YouTube. This program will be on YouTube, and you'll be able to find all the relevant information about the youth group that Yvonne went to, okay? So today, how is Yvonne?
Today, Yvonne is happy. She's over all the traumatic, terrible events that happened. I now have a relationship with my mum, so a good relationship with my mum, to the point that I now live with her with no complaints.
Right.
I am a career person, so I'm now a social worker.
Okay.
I'm able to help other women, like I said, that experience some of the things I've experienced. I'm able to kind of be relatable and help them. If my history has not affected what I am today in a
You were
negative
one of,
way.
if I can say, the lucky ones where you, as I said, you had a mature head, you learnt from your mistake, and you've moved on.
Yes.
Okay. Yvonne, thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
All right.
That's fine.
After the break, I'm going to be joined by Pastor Abraham, and he's going to be saying a prayer for you if you are going through a situation where you have not learned from your mistakes, okay? Don't feel bad about it. We are here to help you. We'll see you after this.
Click on to uckg.org for all the latest happenings at the UCKG Help Centre. It's dynamic, interesting and full of content that will add to your daily life. Keep up to date with all the latest info and events up and down the country at a UCKG closest to you. There's something for everyone, and you're invited. Check out what we've done previously and update your calendar with what's coming up next. Ladies, especially for you, presenters and authors Nanda Becerra, Esther Becerra, Chris Cardoso and Viviane Freitas share with you advice on becoming a better woman. Read their top tips on health, beauty, love and well-being, all aimed at helping you become the woman you were created to be. And if you're looking for food for the soul and personal development, then check out messages from world-renowned spiritual leader Bishop Macedo, as well as character-building blogs from Bishops Renato and Celso Jr. It's spiritual intelligence for your life. And for all you young guys and girls, why not check out our section dedicated to youth? Real talk, real advice, and a whole lot of fun. Catch cool clips of their shows and listen to the catchiest VYG record tracks. Want some inspiration? Watch our live transformational videos, recent programs, plus all the promos and coverage of some of our best shows and events.
Just finding answers and
Finding us is easy. Wherever you are in the UK, find the UCKG nearest to you at a click of a button. uckg.org. All you need at your fingertips.
Hello and welcome to Love Talk.
And basically it was just to meet the in-laws and get their trust in.
Well, myself.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yes,
I'm actually happy for you.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me, right? That's how
That's
they
a
say.
good one.
Run away from temptation. Run. Then run another one.
This is so serious.
There is the right kind of honesty and the wrong kind of honesty.
Welcome back to the program. Now let's go to the streets of London to hear what people had to say about learning from your mistakes.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Mistakes, we all make them, but can we really learn from them? So I'm on the streets of London finding out the opinions from the public. Let's see what they say. Can you always learn from your mistakes?
I hope so. I think if you think about what the mistakes were that you made and put some good thought into it, you can learn from it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I've learned of my mistakes already.
I always try to learn from my mistakes, but no, not all the time it is like that.
That depends person to person. It's an individual thing. Those that are smart enough to realize their mistakes should be able to learn from it. If you haven't learned from your mistake, it's because you haven't realized it.
So I agree with that young man just there. You know, if you are able to learn from your mistakes and move forward, then all well and good to you, right? You've got a mature head, you know what to do, and you're not going to repeat the same thing again. But if you find yourself in a difficult situation where you're not learning from your mistakes, maybe other people can see it around you, maybe deep down you know what your mistakes are, but it's like you are led by your heart. Your feelings lead you instead of using that little muscle in your head called your brain. Right? With me is Pastor Abraham. Hi, Pastor Abraham.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
So this topic, if people don't learn from their mistakes, they're going to end up like Yvonne and others in a worse situation.
Yeah, I do believe that the worst thing is that everybody will agree about one thing. They have to learn from their mistakes and they have to move on. But how easy is it in a practical way?
Yeah.
There are many people who get trapped into this. For example, Yvonne, she committed a terrible mistake, but she learned to move on. And then comes the power of faith, Michael. Because when we combine this ability of learning, okay, I made a mistake, but we put our faith together with that, God himself help us to move on, because God can make everything new. And out of our mistakes, we can learn a lesson that we won't repeat in the past. We will mature, and then life move on. And the probability of achieving success will be much greater than someone who perhaps never made any mistake in life, which is almost impossible. No? We all make mistake in a point. But when we use our faith, this is when things start changing. Perhaps this person is watching us, Mike, and saying, but this seems to be so simple. This seems to be so easy. But God is simple. People who tend to complicate things.
Yeah. You know, if you want to start a new beginning, a new chapter in your life from tonight, the thing that you need is faith. Faith. It's not about how many times you've repeated that mistake. It's about, you know, being forgiven and you forgiving yourself as well, because that's part of the process. You forgiving yourself and learning what to do. And if you say, but it's just me, you know what, it's me alone, I can't do it by myself, then with God's help, you can. And that's what the prayer is all about. That's why we say a prayer at the end of each program. Why? Because we involve God. We involve God in that area of your life. And if you want to join us, then feel free to do so. Get your glass of water ready. Pastor Abraham will be praying and asking God to intervene in your life. Of course, you're not forced to, but if you want this change, if you want to move forward, it's time for prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer and include you in the Finding Answers prayer book, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
Our Lord and our Father, it's in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, that we enter your presence. And if there is one thing you gave to every single person, it's something called faith. Faith is the bridge that takes us to you, my Father. And in you, all things are new. There are people who are watching us in this moment, and they see themselves trapped into one mistake after the other. And they kind of lost hope to start all over again, hope to start a new life, to have a new beginning. But with you, my God, all things are possible. Therefore, I pray on the behalf of each and every person who is watching us, who is praying together with us. So send your fire right now, your power, to lift him up, to lift this person up in such a way that she start moving forward, to make the right choices and learn, of course, for her mistakes, but not punishing herself any longer. My God, bless this glass of water, so that the moment this person drink this water, may this water wash her from all guiltness, from all unforgiveness, from all blame, my Father. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I pray. My dear friend, you may drink from the water right now and be healed, be free, be blessed there where you are, and believe the power of God is upon you and you can move on from now on. In Jesus' name, let's drink together from the water.
Just remember one thing. It doesn't matter what you've done in your past. If your friends or family have abandoned you, remember God is always there. We are only here on this program for an hour every evening, but God is wherever you are. So say a prayer anytime. Ask for his help and he'll be able to guide you. He'll be able to teach you. Put someone even in your way. Maybe this program is the guide for you to help you. All right? So remember that God is always there with you. Until the next time, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.